Ooh. Boom! Hey, I'm Thundercloud, here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. It's raining, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows. After rains, yeah, you know my mum calls me James. Let's have some fun and linguistic games here tonight on Chillin Tuesday, Poetcast for the 5th of July 2022, and we're in NAIDOC week. And we'll begin this NAIDOC week by acknowledging all of the First Nations people in this country that's been colonised and now called Australia, and their continuing connection to the land, to the water, and to community of the elders past, present, and emerging. And that we broadcast this from Kamilaroi, Banby country, up here in Yarra. And this is NAIDOC week, so I'll be doing a First Nations poet special tonight. And Chillin Tuesday, so we're in a bit of a cold snap all around, right up the east coast. People in Brisbane are whinging, and people everywhere who are cold are whinging. Well, here in Yarra, we just get tough. Yeah. If you're cold, what do? Star jumps and burpees. So this is what you do, right? If you're cold, get off your fucking ass, excuse my swearing, and do some exercise. Okay, 10 star jumps, do it. Go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See? Not cold now. I'm all warmed up. Don't even feel cold, right? That's what you've got to do. And burpees. Burpees is where you get down. Now put your hands down, shoot your legs out back and jump up. Alright, get down, give me 10 burpees now. Go. 1, 2. Come on, 3. Keep going. I'll have a cup of tea. That'll make me warm. Barry's Irish tea. All the way from Ireland, where it's blended. Probably grown in India. It's halfway around the world to get back to here, Australia, to Yarra, via Brisbane, and my dad. A well-travelled cup of tea. Well, over the last few weeks of Chillin Tuesdays, I've been reading from Colin Johnson's book, and on that note, just one cultural sensitivity warning: I will be mentioning the names of people who have passed on. Right, so yeah, Colin Johnson, that's what I'll be reading out of you first, and then I've got another selection of different First Nations poets from all around the different places tonight. The weather, as we are in Chillin Tuesdays after all, it's about 8 degrees here in Yarra. It's pretty warm actually for a night time in the winter in July. It usually jumps down to 2 degrees, 1 degree by this time, but it's the clouds have come over tonight, so it's 8 degrees outside, windy of about 28 km/h winds, rain, yes, it's rain, feels like 3.5, going down to only 7 overnight because of all of this cloud, but 100% chance of rain tomorrow. And then heading on into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be going to -1 for our minimums. That's the actual minimum, not the feels like minimum, which we should be looking at -10 kind of stuff. So Yeah, we've got muscles on our brass monkeys up here to stop them freezing off. Okay, the song circle of Jacky. Let's get into some poetry here on Chillin Tuesday. Excuse me, while I clear my throat. And we're up to Song 31, Song Circle of Jacky, and selected poems of Colin Johnson, published by Hyland House in 1986 in South Yarra. Here we are. So I've got it here ready. I've got it ready. I've just got to get to the actual page. Song 31 of the Song Circle of Jacky. Song 31. Let her rest. Let her rest. Too long she roamed. Too long she roamed. Let her rest. Now that we've laid her down. She lived, she watched her people die. She lived, she felt her dead ones cry. In grief she left her place to wander over the land, to still her grief. Her people's grief, her people's death, she walked, she talked, she felt the scorn of alien eyes and of her people's tongues. What could she do? She watched her people die, while flattery touched her body and led her steps, marked her tracks to island exile, marked her tracks to killing far away, far from home, and then to island prison. Her name was changed as she felt the fear as the last of her menfolk died, far from home, an island exile. His body was raped and his balls were stolen. His body was raped and they stole his balls. Trugger Nana felt the shame, felt his body's pain, felt the shame, felt all over his body's pain, and wished to be laid to rest in the sea, or a hillside slope, a far hillside, far from them with their callous minds and pitchfork eyes. And then she left, and then she died, no lying down, no rest, they seized her bones, no rest, no rest. A museum displayed her bones, a museum stored her bones, no rest, no rest. Her ghost had roamed, her ghost had cried, and the black folks saw and heard her cries. They fought to give her a grave, Far from those callous minds and pitchfork lies, now let her rest, now let her rest. Too long she roamed, too long she cried, now let her rest. Now that we've laid her down, now that Jacky and his kind have laid her down. NAIDOC, National Aboriginal Islander Day of Celebration. What should we be celebrating? Evelyn Araluen. Yeah, Evelyn Araluen. Currently one of Australia's most awarded poets for 2022. A Bunjalung woman, an amazing poet. Check her out online there. Ellen Van Neerven. There we go, another incredible poet. First Nations poet, of course. Song 32. Sweeping sadness of Balayang. Batman one with a problem. Sweeping sadness of Balayang. Miserable, upset. Mean and bad, hanging there upside down. Sadness of Balayang. Sadness of Balayang. Sadness. Sadness. Wife is dead. Sadness. Sadness. No woman. Sad. No woman to grow his vegetables, gather and cook them. No woman. No woman. No woman's work. Balayang is sexist. Will waste away. No woman's work. Yearning, Balayang tracks his steps to a camp, the camp of his mother-in-law. His mother-in-law. Wrong to speak to her, standing there dumb. Her husband long dead, his wife just dead. Woman, no meat. Man, no vegetables. Both are sexist. No man's work, no woman's work. Man may find a way, but fast a woman left at his tent a basket of fruit, left them there without a care, knew that later she would find kangaroos or possums in her camp. But man needs more than chips with his steak. Aching Balayang, old woman, spied the reason, sung a song of power, walked and walked, walked towards a thickish log, struck it with her digging stick, crack. Quivered and gaped out two young ladies, nimble and nice enough to accept her words, went laughing in mirth, went swimming in water, kicking with legs and splashing with hands. Balayang was aroused and came. Creeping through the forest, creeping through the bush, creeping ever nearer to trespassers on his land, standing up, fitting the spear to his thrower, seeing them, relaxing and smiling, accepting their cheeky words. Grandfather? They giggled at him. Father? No. Well, brother then? No. What then? But husband? They shouted in glee, rushing him off. And Balayang was husband. Song 33. Land sacred, life-giving earth, not death-giving dirt. Spirits forced to roam, seek new refuge in truth. Many find it in death. Jacky says, machines come, put an end to our hopes. Bitter truth rules here. Earth once supporting life, earth now providing graves, hidden, unlike the trees in which once we hung, as our flesh rotted to free our spirits from the haunted living. Song 34. Long ago, his skin itches as men enter his pores and run their fingers lightly along his walls. or scratch family diagrammatic lines. From then on they touch Jacky in other ways. The Wandjina eat themselves through his skin to become his bones. White, yellow haloed figures with gaped eyes, searching for the tribal dead, and the touching fingers of the living marking out the living. In other places his skin is dotted, taped and corroded by shapes. Even the wraith-like Mimi emerged from between his cells to line a rock with stick-like figures of grace, which men might copy or trace with wondering nails. The dancing quinkin quiver across his skin. A hand is stenciled and a thylacine scene sketched. Jacky's flesh shivers with thousands of tracks and figures and signs to be followed by strange, horrific shapes. Stranger men with stranger weapons to be etched and kept for all to see. That life is ever moving, changing across his skin. Song 34. Song 35. Forward our generation. The next generation shall be heavy. Jacky went with outstretched hand, armed only with a plea for justice. What did they give him? Give him? Nothing, nothing, nothing but pain, drunkenness, despair, and false promises. Forward our generation, the next generation shall be heavy. There are no more no's, no more pleases, only thank yous. Our generation forward, the next generation is heavy. The tree has a mighty root, the branches are strong and flower this spring. I like that one. Right, and that's it. The Song Circle of Jacky, up to Song 35 by Colin Johnson. Okay, what have I got here? Okay, this one's by Alf Taylor. Let me see if there's a bit of a bio about Alf in here. There's not. So I can't really help you. Oh yes, I can actually. Alf Taylor is part of the multifaceted tradition of West Australian Aboriginal culture. Jack Davis, Jimmy Chi, Margaroo, Sally Morgan, Paddy Rowe, Daisy Udamora are some of those we know. The individuality of each of these voices illustrating different aspects of Aboriginal being in contemporary Australia. In her preface for Alf Taylor's first book of poem, Faith Bandler noted that Taylor spoke as a lover. Taylor presents us with an Aboriginal subject moving through space, apparently rootless in the manner of a country and a Western balladie, but bound by a network of effective webs to family lovers, past and present, places and strangers. Gossamer threads. These poems should be read through in one sitting and then again. Well, unfortunately that's not going to be happening tonight because we only have a limited time, and I have selected some in the past that I've read, and I'm going to not do the ones that I've read in the past. Fire tin. Birds flick through leaves. Old man stands in cold. Wipes his nose with sleeve. Last night in park, think of lonely darkness. Memory, go back. Humpy he sits in, surrounded by glowing warmth of fire tin. Got to get out from this park and lonely dark. Next one, horror. Tonight, with you, I'm lying alone. Your body next to mine, I'm still alone. Smell of your bones leaves me near death. I can taste the jelly of your marrow. When I awake, they will be past dreams and sorrow. When the pubs open again, I'll get on the grog from all this horror. Magic heart. Your magic heart completely has me under your spell, locked in your warm embrace, hypnotized by the flames of your love. Taste your sweet words, taste your kisses, taste the breath that you breathe. I am at your disposal. I can tell your magic heart has got me completely under your spell. Wow, that's beautiful. That's absolutely... That's got me under its spell, that poem, just itself, that's just, giving me, it's all goosebumpy and, chilly, shivery. That's beautiful. I'm not going to read it out again. I want to. Okay, magic heart. Your magic heart completely has me under your spell, locked in your warm embrace, hypnotized by the flames of your love. Taste your sweet words, taste your kisses, taste the breath that you breathe. I am at your disposal. I can tell your magic heart has got me completely under your spell. That's just beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I like the way these are written. I have to show you, to see how they're written down the page like that. Smile, a smile. Look yonder, beyond the border. A star is shimmering away in the darkness. A smile twinkling eyes, embers of your heart glowing silently in deep thought. 2 days of ecstasy, lifetime of memories. Beautiful. So that's Alf Taylor. I think I might have to read all of that out one night. Don't know, but it's just gorgeous. Right, and that's just a few of these things. I'm going to have a piece of mandarin because my mouth's a little bit dry. In my life, and one poet, First Nations poet, that keeps popping up, the messages and that for, more than 15 years or so. That would be Mutuerjaraera, formerly known as Kath Walker. Mutuerjaraera means paper bark. In fact, Colin Johnson, when I was reading the Song Circle of Jacky, changed his name and by deed poll and adopted his First Nations name as Mudraru, which is a Newlin name, and meaning paper bark. Well, Mutuerjaraera also means paper bark, and he adopted Mudraru after having conversations with Mutuerjaraera. This one's no more boomerang. No more boomerang, no more spear. Now all civilised calabar and beer. No more corroboree, gay dance and din. Now we got movies and pay to go in. No more sharing what the hunter brings. Now we work for money and then pay it back for things. Now we track bosses to catch a few bob. Now we go walkabout on bus to the job. One time naked who never knew shame. Now we put clothes on to hide what's a name. No more gunya, now bungalow. Paid by hire purchase in 20 years or so. Laid down the stone axe, take up the steel and work like a nigger for a white man's meal. No more fire sticks that made the whites scoff. Now all electric and no better off. Bunyip he finished, now got instead white fella bunyip. Call him red. Abstract picture now, what they coming at. Cripes in our caves, we did better than that. Black hunted wallaby, white hunt dollar, white fella witch doctor, wear a dog collar. No more message stick lubras and lads. Got television now, mostly ads. Lay down the woomera, lay down the waddy. Now we got atom bomb and everybody. Let's hope not. Right. Here we are. Starry, Dreamtime Night. My Aboriginal Poems by Esther Gardiner. Esther Gardiner was born at Tingha. She's the youngest in her family and she has 3 sisters and 2 brothers. She went to Tingha Public School and McIntyre High in Inverell. So she reads these Dreamtime stories to children in preschools and public schools and high schools and talks about Aboriginal culture, and she also does Welcome to Country. And this is her book of poetry here. And I'm going to do the first two because it's called My Dad and My Mum, and this is for her dad and her mum. But I guess I miss my dad and mum because they're up there in Brisbane and they're in their 70s and I haven't seen them for over 18 months. So just thought I'd let you know, Mum, Dad, I miss you and I love you, and I hope I can get up there soon, definitely at the end of October. I'll be up there, and I hope you can come down here in November to see Fiore Musicali singing here. My dad. Many years have passed from when I held your hand and the family lived at Hospital Flat Road, Tingha, in the Department of Housing House. The years have faded and time's moved on. Within my heart, there will always be a special place my dad belongs. I know you're in heaven now, standing beside our Heavenly Father's side, waiting patiently for the day where the Gardiner family will all unite. But time will move on and each day will fade away, but the memory and the love for my beautiful dad for an eternity in my heart will remain. And I love my dad too. And my mum. A beautiful angel sent from heaven above is my beautiful mum. She's a sparkling rose that shines with colours so bright, or a twinkling star to watch over me at night. Her laughter is heard blowing in the breeze, and at night time she prays for a family in God she believes. With love and tenderness she shines so bright, she's special to me, and our love for each other intertwines. A beautiful angel sent from heaven above is my beautiful mum. Yes, it comes my Dreamtime stories. Newlin's book, Where There's Life, There's Spirit. Okay. And don't know which mob their Norm's from. But Norm Newlin, 1988. Yeah. I don't know. Introduction. It was only 2 years ago that Norm wrote his first poem, so this is in 1987. As part of the course he was studying, he was given the choice of writing an essay or a poem about the play The Dreamers by Jack Davis. I remember saying that writing a poem would be easier. The poem, Norm admitted it would not be easy, was full of images which were powerful, direct and came from the heart. From that time, Norm has not stopped writing. He likes to share his poems with others and encourage them also to write. For him, it was not necessary to attend high school or university to write. His knowledge of literature was mainly self-taught. He once told me he read anything he could lay his hands on. There was also the fear that by studying what other poets wrote or by listening to academics talking about poetry, that this may destroy his ability to create his own images in poetry. This book contains 43 poems. Apart from the sharing of the thoughts and feelings that are expressed in this book, I believe that Norm would hope that others will also be inspired to start writing. Okay, So let's begin with the first one called This Land. Australia. Felix Australis. New Holland, the Great South Land. All the names this land was called until they decided on Australia. Someone asked my Koori friend what it was called before the white man came. Chris just smiled and answered, hours before the white man came. The dreaming of old Waroo, curled in a fetal sleeping pose, on mulga ashes growing cold. Sunrise sweeps over rugged plains, and cockies screech in the morning gold. Small babies need the breast, camp dogs gnaw on shin bones, and Kakadu scales a rocky slope into a sacred cave to tell the tale of yesterday. With a chewed green stick, ochres, clay and crushed charcoal, paint the hunt on this cave wall. Long fine fingers outlined in white, Kakadu's sign. He painted this scene: kangaroo, emu, goanna and fish. When the Gubba come to Nyungaland, and chased us from our tribal ground, this sacred place became a branding pen. Hunting ground, all fenced in, the waterhole, a muddy place. Tribes cry out and throw their spears. White man shoots to allay his fears. Move to the mission, manhood gone. Flour, tea, tobacco and fat. Hand out cast-offs from city folk. Humpies of iron and hessian bags, flattened boxes and kero tins, mansions for a once proud man. Paint your face in streaky lines, stick feathers on your chest and go dance for the government man. Cameras click at the swaying group. They thank the white and ignore the black. The dance is over, the visitor's gone, so they sit in the dust and dream of the savage land. Waroo left the mission in 56. They live in a house of brick. They got no job, only pension and dole. Just sit on the veranda and dream. The didgeridoo don't sound no more. No kangaroo stew, no roast emu, just traffic noise and coppers knock. Waroo is old, his mind goes back with this brothers again. He's hunting bush tucker, it's free and wild. Then camp by the sleepy creek, but a slack mouth drools on a stubble chin. Help me, daughter, ease this pain. His eyes red, roomy and pleading. Hospital nurse, she shakes her head. The old man's gone. He's no more. Take him away and leave this place. Waroo was placed in broken ground while his spirit floated high, content, back in the dreaming place. Poems of Lionel Fogarty. Newlin selected poems Munaldjali, Mutuerjaraera. Lionel Fogarty has been acclaimed as the most authentic and important voice to emerge from a radical new generation of Aboriginal writers. His poetry is written in the unique and highly rhythmic form of English that is the day-to-day language for many of the Maori tribes in Queensland, and puts the reader in touch with the spirituality of Maori culture, the raw realities of Aborigines' struggle for self-determination. Lionel was born on the land of the Waka Waka tribe at Broome, Queensland, which is now known as Cherbourg. This was one of the punishment reserves where individuals and their families who spoke out against the white authorities were sent from all over Queensland. As a result, the Waka Waka area became a place of many people from many different tribes. With little formal education, Lionel left the reserve at the age of 16 and worked as a ringbarker, a railway worker, a cleaner. At the same time, he became deeply involved with the Aboriginal struggle for land rights and injustice. His poetry grew out of commitment both to the Aboriginal cause and the desire to communicate the traditional ways and beliefs to his community, which he's never deserted. He's travelled extensively as an ambassador for both Maori culture and Aboriginal cause throughout Australia, USA and Europe, where his poetry is held in high regard. Most recently, he completed an exhausting year of tour of Europe. This was in 1993. And has published, with the approval of his tribal elders, a traditional Waka Waka story, Buya Buddha. This book here was published in 1995, not too long after he lost his brother in custody, Daniel York. A moment of silence for all those who've died in custody. I'm actually going to begin with the first poem in this book, which is called Air. It was written by Daniel York on the 28th of April 1993. Air. Walk on my own, talk on my own, voice I hear, steps I hear. Alone I see, alone I hear, alone my own. I give to pour, I give to receive, I give my last. Love is my pride, love is a strong word, love strong, love lost. Daniel York, 28th of April, 93. And then we go into Lionel Fogarty's new poems dedicated to Daniel York. Mara Gullen, born 7th of February 1975. died 7th of November 1993, aged 19, in custody. For him I died. Bupu Nganda I love. For him I loved, for him I became a dove. For him I tamed a game. Why has he taken my love? Wine as shaking my dine. Woe who outer my dining room. What great sound he calls, what graving sound it gave. Rap sapping his heart, with them he got sung. For him I loved, forgiving the tear-tearing 4 faces he has seen. Funk, hunk, drunk. For him I lived, he'd been in a body, I'd been in a bottler. Since once he send sin on to me, now sinly I surrender. Sewer porphyry I adore, for him I loved, swear back just to glad, sweet birds just to grand, sweeping flights just to game. A 1 lone feels his sex, a 2 cone feeds his senses, a 3 owns feasts his sick. For him I loved, his silent lineament myths, his sire searcher meek in me, his resting bees made many inner tests. Even I forward his happy wills, even I forever his papa ills. Even I forever his lasting tills. For him I loved, he'd been in behind my soul, he'd been in beloved mindness, he'd been in beggar meanness. Why has he taken my lying? Win who in taken the winds. Will he bless my love giving? For him I love, for him I loved. What great sound he calls. Mara Mara, Gullen Dunilly. Waterhen. Yet I too bleed the Murra Gullen Dunilly heart. We blessed his body touched. We slipped to the earth feel with Daniel. I stepped proud, yielded dance. That was denial. My radical grumble with him. Oh man, him smiling at you, him laughing at you, him eyes a dill ill, him understood the street lies, him understook 8 and was mistook, Murra Gullen Dunilly, pain and ache. Yet he was loved by the great ones, grief came out of sharing, and sharing, and sharing alike was him. I still to this day feel Daniel Yock's consistency, the fate him kept, paradise him kept. Dayok is a calling contempt to evil policies. Dayok is a singing to the souls. Aborigine revolution coming, to those pigs sneer and judges too. Dayok want all you young to fight on, not lurk on, to fight on, to defend him. Dayok fear nobody,
'cause him was a spiritual dancer, was a murra dancer. Everybody praised within his respect. A distant happier came for a far, a wide, just a great Dannyok. I asked a light of life and people here to member the ember of the human spirit, to make him our brother Daniel dance that dance of the bleeding murra heart. He was taken away from me, in my heart living in always, the journey of his beginning. No more pain, no more suffering. Dreamtime dancer, keep me strong. Murra gullan danili, culture romancer. You're on the other side, the light you see. The light you see is where you're from, is where you're going to be, the from of the feeling that was within you. Can't you forget? Can't you remember? As long as I am a grieving, you'll see justice will be done. Baba Yubu, I will love you always. Your blood runs through me. I'll survive. Will sunrise the enemy. At murra gullan danili dancer, the culture romancer. In my heart you're living always, in a Murray way of dancing. Dreamtime dancers, romancers dance, murra gullan danili. Water hen, water hen, water hen. And I see why he's so highly respected in Europe. He should be much highly respected in Australia, and I highly respect Lionel Fogarty as a poet. What else have I got for you tonight? To read. Not too many books left, really. Now, here we go. Australia's Kakadu man, Bill Nedjie. Now, this is interesting because I'll just read you what this is about. Basically, before he passed on, Bill Nedjie recorded all these dreaming songs and song lines, and then they were written down and translated to English as well. So that's what I'm going to be reading to you tonight. Some of this from Australia's Kakadu, Bill Nedjie, published in... Let's find this. So Bill was born in 1913, and this was published in 1986 by Resource Managers Proprietary Limited. I give you this story. This proper true story. People can listen. I'm telling this while you've got time. Time for you to make something, history book. I was thinking, no history written for us when white Europeans start here. Only a few words written, should be more than that. should be written way Aborigine was lived. That floodplain, my father, my mother, my grandfather all used to hunt there. Use ironwood spear, no clothes then. When I was growing up, good mob of people all round then. Now people bit wicked. My time never do a little bit wrong, otherwise get spear straight away. Now, little bit cheeky mob. Old time they would all be dead now. The old people were hard. I frightened when young, only few people now, but it easy for this mob. Anyway, got to be made that book. There's still time. No man can growl at me for telling this story because it will be too late. I'll be dead. Introduction. This earth I never damage. I look after. Fire is nothing, just clean up. When you burn, new grass coming up. That mean good animal soon. Might be goose, long-necked turtle, goanna, possum. Burn him off. New grass coming up, new life all over. I don't know about white European way. We Aborigine burn, make things grow, trees grow, every night he grow, daylight he stop. Just about dark he start again. Just about morning I look, I say, oh, nice tree this. When you sleep, tree growing like other trees, they got lots of blood. Rotten tree, you got to burn him. Use him to cook. He's finished up. Cook or roast in coals, while Europeans cook in oven from university that. Aborigine don't know that before. Now all this coming up with Toyota. First people come to us, they started and run our life quick. They bring drink. First they should ask about fish, cave, dreaming, but they rush in. They make school, teach. Now Aborigine losing it, losing everything, nearly all dead, my people, my old people gone. Those first people was too quick, wasn't Aborigine fault. Still, Aborigine all around 1929, 1952, 1953, few left, but 1970 to 79, gone. Only me, Robin Gaden, and Felix Holmes. Each man, he stay in his own country. He can't move his country, so he stay there. Stay with his language. Language is different, like skin. Skin can be different, but blood same. Blood and bone, all same. Man can't split himself. What Europeans can't say, oh, that Aborigine no good, might be that Aborigine alright. Men can't growl at Aborigine. Aborigine can't growl at white European. Because both ways might be good men. Might be both no good. You never know. So you should understand yourself. No matter Aborigine or white European, I was keeping this story myself. It was secret in my mind, but I see what other people are doing, and I feel sad. The next poem, Law. Law never changed, always stay the same. Maybe it hard, but proper one for all people. Not like white European law, always changing. If you don't like it, you can change. Aboriginal law never change. Old people tell us, you gotta keep it, it always stays. Okay. So Kakadu, Bill Nedjie. Now, have I got anything else to read for you tonight? Not really, actually. We're pretty much done
for the evening, apart from one more book, The Honey Ant Men's Love Song and Other Aboriginal Poems, edited by R.M.W. Dixon and Duwell. And these are poems in First Nation languages and then in English. So I'm going to attempt to read out both versions. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to be reading out to you is in the Girramay dialect of Duwell, which is one of the tribes up in the Cairns rainforest area. We've got Girramay, Gulungay, Jiru as you're going north, and Yidney up above Mamu up there. And the one I'm going to read to you is Thunder. Munga walmanyu mural ngumarangu. Mural walmanyu munga ngumarangu. Mara nyaburu gubu guraragu. Mina mindu minba majalagu. Manga walmanya mural ngumarangu. Maja Yaburu gubu guraragu. Munga walmanyu murul ngumarangu. Mada nyaburu gubu guraragu. Minya mindu minba majalagu. Manga walmanyu murul ngumarangu. Then in English, thunder. A mighty noise rises up, roars as it rushes by. Rises and rushes and rises, a mighty noise that roars. Hurl out a leaf that is soaked in sweat. Bolts of lightning strike and flare, a mighty noise rises up, roars as it rushes by. Hurl out a leaf that is soaked in sweat. A mighty noise rises up and roars as it rushes by. Hurl out a leaf that is soaked in sweat. Bolts of lightning strike and flare. A mighty noise rises up, roars as it rushes by. That's Thunder by Jimmy Murray in 1967. Girramay dialect, so that's 55. Oh, pardon me. 55 years ago that was written. Right, so I'm at the end of my reading of books over there, so there's not much more for me to do here on Chillin Tuesdays here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, except to remind you that tomorrow night we've got Wednesday Words Open Mic Poetry Night here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, starting off at about 6:30. If you want some tucker, get here at 5:30, so I've got time to cook it for you. We've got, coming up on Saturday morning, we've got the Yarra Farmers and Craft Market here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. Yes, that's true. 8:30 till 12:30. And Saturday afternoon, Solomon Island Independence Day celebrations from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock. There'll be cultural dances from all around the Pacific Islands and music as well. So that's a really good one to look out for and get along to. Come along and see help the Solomon Island young men and women celebrate Solomon Island Independence Day, which is on the 7th of July, but it'll be held on, the actual event is on the 9th of July, which is the Saturday. And what else is happening here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame? Well, that's about it for now. So we might as well get that James Warren fella here onto his, what have I written this week, actually? Well, the global nose and ear crisis is happening right now. Ears and noses are dropping off somehow. People are tripping over and falling flat on their asses, losing balance, and they cannot even wear their glasses. Because their nose and their ears are falling off. Makes sense to me. Okay. Alright, here's another one. A little silly one. I have a little feeling that I have felt before, like arriving at a conference and opening a creaky door. And everyone turns to stare as you take a seat. And you fart loudly as you sit, and it smells like you've eaten a lot of meat. Time goes in slow motion and starts to lag as the woman beside me suddenly starts to gag. And then suddenly she faints and passes and out. Call an ambulance, I begin to shout. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's it. Souls. Now, before, you know, the monotheism, like a one god, whatever, of the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Muslim, and Christianism, when they used to have this thing called animism, or where animals and plants all had souls, the whole earth has a soul. Well, what if it's all just like all connected in the vibratory frequency field? I don't know. Anyway, this was what I wrote. Ants have souls and so do bees. I'm also certain so do trees. Why would anyone want to kill fleas? Fungi and mushrooms are living entities. It's true. Everything you see has a soul, even worms down in a hole, eagle, bear, elephant, and also a mole. Each soul a perspective of the whole. Yeah. And, well, that is it. Apart from the fact that it's really cold here and it's not that cold, and I'm not whinging because, like, we love it. That's why we live here. And if we get cold, we can just stand up and do some star jumps. Yeah. Done. Oh, and I'm warm. There you go. Right. So, giving thanks for the cool morning. Happy to be alive and awake at the dawning. Feeling alive. I'm out of my bed. I'd better get moving or I'll freeze my head. Giving thanks for the ice and the frost and the grass. The sun will come out and the cold wind will pass. So let's go outside and embrace the cold. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger and bold. Yeah. And nobody wants to hear a whinger or anyone acting like a victim. Pull up your big girl panties. Take a scoop of cement and harden up. Yeah. All right. Happy Chillin Tuesday from the Yarra Australian Poetry Hall of Fame here in Yarra. I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. If only it was snowing, I'd take all my clothes off and do a snow angel on the road, but that's not happening. So we'll see you later. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click on the bell for notifications. Everywhere else. We'll see you next week, and we'll also see you tomorrow for Wednesday Words Poetry Night here from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame on Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain, and my mum calls me James.